Have you ever had one of those days where you're running around like a crazy person just trying to get it all done? At the end of the day, you're exhausted, but when you really think about it, you didn't actually get as much accomplished as you had wanted to. Today, I'm going to be talking about how you can stop running around like a crazy person trying to get it all done and get focused on what's important to you so you can make progress on the things that matter. Hi, I'm Jess from JessDickerson.com, and I'm a life coach helping you go from stress to success so you can be more motivated, more confident, and less stressed. By the end of this video, you're going to know how to use one of the best tools possible to help you organize your to-do list so that you can make real progress on the things that matter to you and move towards your goals. And remember, if you want to be the first to know when I publish new videos, hit the subscribe button below. One of the things we as humans tend to struggle with is prioritizing. We take one look at that mile-long to-do list, decide that it's all important, and then set out to do the impossible. The first thing to realize is that your to-do list will never be done. The average person has 150 items on their to-do list. And pretty much every time you cross something off your to-do list, a new thing will take its place. Think about it. Say you put go to the grocery store in your to-do list. Then after you cross that off, you got to go home and put it all away. Then you cross that off and then you got to make dinner or a meal prep. And then you cross that off and you got to do all the dishes. Every time you do something and cross it off, you probably just make another to-do. Because of the way this works, there's really no reason for you to assume that your entire to-do list needs to be done today or that all of it is important and needs to even be done this week or this month. Just because you think of something doesn't mean that it's important, that it needs to get done anytime soon, or that maybe you need to be the one to do it at all. This is where the tool that I was talking about comes in. It's called the Eisenhower Matrix, and it looks like this. The Eisenhower Matrix is a visual representation based on a quote from former President Dwight D. Eisenhower, who is largely regarded as one of the most productive people to have ever lived. What he said in his speech was, "I have two kinds of problems, the urgent and the important. The urgent are not important, and the important are never urgent." This visual representation has been showing up in personal development books since the 70s, but it was really made most popular by Stephen Covey. The way that I use this productivity tool is to first start with a brain dump. I take everything that's going on in my head and I write it out on a piece of paper. It doesn't matter if it's something that I'm thinking about that doesn't need to be done until next year. If it's floating around my head, it goes on the paper. Once you spill everything out on paper, you're actually going to feel better. Our brains are great at coming up with new ideas, but they're not really good for just remembering things. That's why you find that thoughts will spin and spin and spin around in your brain because your brain's afraid to forget it. By putting it down on the paper, you can actually relax a little bit because you're no longer worried about forgetting that thing. This actually frees up your brain so that you can be more creative and think clear, which will actually help you use this tool in a more productive way. The first thing you're going to do once you have your brain dump is start sorting the list items into the boxes. I know the hardest thing is to not copy and paste that entire brain dump from the page and into the urgent and important of things that all need to get done right this second. Personally, I like to do this before I go to bed so that I can get all of that stuff out of my head and be able to sleep. However, you can certainly do this first thing in the morning. Just make sure that you're doing it before you check your email, before you walk and sit down at your computer or go to your office, so that you're sure that you're thinking clearly and that you're not just running around putting out fires before you actually accomplish the things that are important. So on to the urgent and important box. These are the really, truly important things that must be done right now. For example, if you're running on a deadline, you've got a presentation at noon and you still have slides you need to fix, then that is urgent and important. It cannot wait. Not someone else screaming at you that something must be done because it's important to them, but because it's urgent and important to you. The next box we're going to move on to is this one. This is the not urgent but important box. This is where you want to live. Most of your to-do list that will move you towards your goals should go in this box. Anything that's on your to-do list that doesn't need to be done right this second, but is going to help you make progress towards your goals, should go in the not urgent and important box. And then you should be taking those things and putting them on your calendar so that you know when you need to work on them so that they don't become urgent things. The whole point of this productivity tool is to get you so that you're not living in the urgent running around putting out fires place, but that you are working on things and giving them the due time that they need, and you don't feel harried or frantic about your to-do list, that you know what's coming and you can look at your calendar and make the progress and be relaxed, because that's where the magic happens with your brain. The more relaxed you can be, the more creative you can be, and the better you can think. The next box is this one. It's the urgent and not important. These come in two varieties. The first one is things that other people are trying to put on your to-do list that they're trying to get you to do faster. Sometimes you have a client coming at you and their hair's on fire and they're freaking out about something, and it just doesn't need to be done with the urgency that they have around it. The other type of thing is notifications. Our devices are sneaky, and developers know exactly what they're doing. With notifications, developers are trying to give you that sense of urgency, even though most of the notifications that come up on your phone are not actually important. What they are is a big distraction from all of the things that are important to you, and they are going to keep coming up. The best thing to do is to go in and turn off all of the notifications that you can. And then when you're trying to get your important work done, put your phone in airplane mode and hide that sucker. There are studies that show that even if your phone is on your desk and upside down, it is still causing a distraction in your brain. So anything that you put in this urgent and not important box, see what you can do to just cross it off, because the fastest way to get something done is to not do it. All of the notifications can be turned off on your phone. You can shut your door. You can put your phone in airplane mode. You can hide them on your computer. The other kind of urgent and important with other people trying to put things on your to-do list, if they do matter to you because the person's important to you, see what you can do to delegate the item. Whatever you can do to make sure that it's not sitting on your to-do list clogging it up. Either the item can be dumped or delegated, or if it really is important, then it needs to be moved to a different box. And the final box we're going to be talking about is not urgent and not important. These are the absolute time wasters that suck all of your time and all of your energy away and prevent you from getting done the things that are in your important box. Now, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have downtime, that you shouldn't get to Netflix and chill, that you shouldn't get to scroll social media. There's nothing wrong as long as you are controlling those habits and they're not controlling you. If you're watching 6 episodes of your favorite show, that's sucking a whole lot of time away that you could be using to make progress towards your goals. Even though these sort of things don't necessarily turn up on your to-do list, make sure to take note of the things that you find are wasting your time. Things like scrolling social media excessively or binge watching. What tends to happen is that we end up in the urgent boxes, be they important or non-important. And we live there all day long. We come home, we're completely exhausted, and then all we want to do is the not urgent, not important things to try to escape from it all. However, if you use the Eisenhower Matrix on a regular basis, what's going to happen is you're actually going to get to the point where you're not living in the urgent boxes and you're living in the not urgent, important box where everything's been scheduled and it's planned out and it's on your calendar, and you're just occasionally dealing with an urgent thing. This will help you clear out the need for the not urgent, not important things. The other thing to note is that self-care is not a time waster. It does not belong in the not urgent, not important box. It is important. And so there's nothing wrong with planning time to relax, to watch your favorite shows, to scroll social media if it makes you happy. But those self-care things should be going in the not urgent, important box. They need to be planned. They need to be on your schedule. You need to plan date nights with your partner, or spending time with your kids, or getting alone time for once. Just remember that taking care of yourself is important, and it should be scheduled and planned out. If you're living in the not urgent, not important box, it might be because you haven't planned any of those self-care activities and put them on your calendar. So you're just grabbing as much time as you can to zone out and hide from the things that have been driving you up a wall all day long. Now, I know it's taken me an entire video to explain this process, but I promise you that once you get started using the matrix, you probably won't even need to draw it out. You'll just take that brain dump, look at it, highlight the things that are urgent, take note of what is important but not urgent. Go ahead and put those on your calendar, and everything else ought to be crossed off. It's one of those things that you might take a week or two to plan, to work on, to really carve out 15 to 20 minutes in the morning to really use this tool and get comfortable with it. And then it's going to become second nature. And the next thing you know, you can fly through it in 5 minutes, and you're constantly working on the things that are not urgent but important, and making real, genuine, feel-good progress towards your goals, and not running around like a chicken with your head cut off. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead down and hit the like button. And remember to hit the subscribe button for your weekly dose of motivation, confidence, and stress relief. If you're interested in further reading about this topic, go ahead down to the show notes, and I'll have some links to articles that I've written about the topic, and also a link to a free download where I give you a blank Eisenhower Matrix and also the explanations for what should go in each of the boxes. I'll also have a link down there for you to sign up for my newsletter so you don't miss any information on upcoming new programs. And also there'll be a link so that you can learn how to work with me. Thanks everybody. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.